Hey everybody, Collin Shadwell back for another pottery video. This time I'm making olive oil bottles. Last time I was at Funky, which is the place that I buy all my ceramic supplies. I found these little spouts that you see up on screen. And I thought, well, that'd be kind of neat to make some bottles, but I don't know what you put it in them. I know when I was in my days as a bartender, I'd see these on top of bottles of booze, but I don't know if putting booze inside a big ceramic bottle is the best idea. So I thought, ooh, how about olive oil? That'd be a good thing to do. So I'm going to make a couple different shape of bottles here and put these spouts on top, and we'll see how they go. So this first shape I'm going to make is a pretty tall cylinder that I'm going to pull up and then enclose back in. Things to be aware of when you're making bottles like this is that you want to make sure that your bottom is pretty thin, since this is probably not going to be able to be turned over and trimmed. So the thickness at the bottom of the bottle is pretty key. And then also while I'm pulling up here, I'm trying to make sure that I keep the top pretty, not super thick, but thick enough here. So I'm just trying to make this, you can see I goofed up there a little bit, but I'm just trying to make this side wall pretty vertical, and then keeping the top part somewhat thick so that I have enough clay here at the top to kind of bring this together. And whenever you kind of do this, you always kind of get a little wobbly. So when it comes to the thickness of how open I want this bottle to be, I'm kind of guesstimating. I'm using kind of the circumference of my knuckle on my pointer finger is to think like how much shrinkage is going to be, so that the little spout will still fit in there. But again, the little spout has some give to it too. It's got these little rubber things that will let you put it down in there without messing up too much. So you can see here I've got a nice little shape that's slightly indented in the middle, which I thought turned out pretty well. So now I'm going to get my stamps back out here, and I thought I'd stamp some letters in this, so I'm putting EVU, which of course stands for extra virgin olive oil, and I have, of course, in parentheses, because why not? And then once this dried, I chattered the middle part of it, and I thought I'd just go through with some kind of hand-drawn lines here around the top to kind of give it a little extra decorative element here. I'm using a new glaze that'll really help bring these lines out. So smooth it all over. That one will be good. This next one I went for more of a rounded shape, so more of like an apple, rounded over shape, which is, I think, probably more difficult. Cylindrical shapes are pretty easy in my repertoire these days, but the ones that bowl out quite a bit take a little more focus and time. So just trying to make the bottom really compacted in, and I just start slowly pulling it out on the bottom, getting the shape that I want before I start working on the top too much, and then bringing that up as well. If you do this too quickly, obviously you run the risk of the whole thing collapsing on you. So I just work really slow. I know it looks like I'm looking at supersonic speed on the screen here, but in reality, I'm working very slowly, and then trying to get this guy slowly back in, using that rib to compress the clay so it gets a little more strength, so I can make sure this doesn't fall in on me. But here again, I'm just trying to get that same bottleneck with the same diameter. So this is pretty easily rounded over, and nothing too difficult here. And I would say that it's overall maybe the size of a really large grapefruit. That's a big grapefruit, maybe bigger than that. So anyway, this is the finished product here off the wheel. Still pretty raw, but lots of work to do on it. So now that this guy is done here, I'm going to put him back on the wheel and stamp these guys in. The stamps are kind of hard to choose. You have to make sure that the clay is wet enough that the stamps will go in, but too dry they won't show at all. But if it's too wet like this, they tend to just push into the clay. So I found that I've had to kind of go back some time and kind of recarve in those letters. But anyway, I just pulled a very simple little handle on this guy, because it's not something you could easily just grip like the other one is. So you need something to hold on to. So I'm just taking a nice little pulled handle and just blending it in. Nothing too crazy here. Using a brush to kind of slip the edges here so it comes together nicely. And then I start with these kind of designs. Now I've been doing a lot of drawings and paintings that are called Zentangles. I'm sure if you look them up, you'll see lots of examples, but it involves just making paintings out of lots of different lines and little patterns and like that. So this is just a real quick little curvy line pattern where you just draw a little swirl, and then off that swirl you build other swirls going in the opposite direction, and they all kind of come together, which is kind of fun. But again, the glazes that I'll be using here will really help highlight this decorative texture here. So I'm looking forward to see what they're really going to look like at the end here. But you can get kind of lost in these as well. They're really kind of fun to do. So here's the first one, all finished. Nice little texture in the middle using the chatter tool, and then my little lines on top with the EVU. So this one's going to be kind of nice. It doesn't really need a handle. It's just something you grip, and of course the little spout would go on top. And then here's the next one. It's got its decorative design on the top and a little chatter on the bottom. It's kind of a unique design. So I hope you enjoyed watching me make these, and obviously there's still more to come. Thanks for watching.